Dah tak tahu masuk. Send what? Ask for the webinar. I will check. Hello, good afternoon to everyone who are attending the webinar. My name is Ashraf from CEMAX Engineering, and I'm the sales engineer for CEMAX Engineering, which is also I am a representative for clean technologies. So without further ado, let me start our webinar for this month, which includes sludge handling for food industry by CEMAX Engineering. We are located in Damansara, Taring Jaya, and you can check out our website www.cemax.com.my, and let's get started. So sludge handling for food industry. So how do food manufacturers produce waste? So in 2017, the UN estimated that almost a third of all food that is produced is discarded. For comparison, 1 ton of waste food is about the equivalent of 127 large plastic bag bins. Edible foods make up approximately 1.3 gigaton of this, which is equal to 1 gigaton is actually equal to 1 billion tons. This not only represents a phenomenal loss in terms of food that could feed the people, but also a loss in resources such as water, labor power, soil nutrition, transportation energy, and so forth. Recent analysis show that about 1/3 of the edible food that is wasted globally come before the farm gates, and about 1/5 come from people, plates, and refrigerator. This means that just under half of all the edible food that become waste does so during manufacturing, distribution, and retail. This is not only represent a phenomenal loss in terms of food that could feed people, but also a loss in resource such as water, labor power, soil nutrition, transportation energy, and etc. So food manufacturers tolerate about 5% of waste within their food process under normal production. In United Kingdom alone, there are more than 8,000 food produced, operating at 9,500 production sites. So there's one of the main reasons food is wasted within the manufacturing process is due to what some researchers refer to as inefficient. For example, on an assembly line, production ready meals, there may be several machines operating to produce different parts of the meals. If something happens to one of these machines, rather than stop the whole system while the machine is reset, the food keeps coming but is redirected into waste. It is more efficient both in terms of money and food resource to lose this food than it is to stop the production for a few minutes. So what is technically inefficient may also be a food and labor efficiency. In addition, there is always food loss associated with machinery startup, which is discarded food. Volumes described on the label are calibrated based on normal speed of production, and it takes a few minutes for the machinery to meet the speeds. As a result, the first few pallets of packaged food are also not able to be sold because the volume in each package is less than the calibrated standard. This is why stopping the production line when faults occur is actually more wasteful. Restarting produce more unsellable edible food than redirection does. A manufacturing produce sometimes associate with food allergy, like breakfast cereal with nuts, and they want to switch the line to produce a cereal without nuts. The production line must be run for a significant time with a new product before it actually nut-free for consumers with food allergy to consume or to spend their money on it. We are currently in a situation where there are hungry people in place, where food is abundant, but we haven't yet worked out how best to organize this surplus food distribution system, or under what circumstances each method works best. Consumers have a role to play in this also. We need food producers to remain committed and engaged in finding ways to redistribute their surplus. And consumer pressure is influential. Food redistributors are often not the first place where people think to volunteers, but regular and committed volunteers are needed as we are financial donation. Food is not waste until it is wasted, and we can all contribute to moving it a lot. So how do sludge treatment works? To understand how sludge treatment works, we have to understand what sludge is. Sludge is a residue that accumulates in sewage treatment plant, and then it produces sludge or biosolid. So some call it biosolid also. Sewage sludge is the solid, semi-solid, or slurry residual material that is produced as a byproduct of wastewater treatment process. This residue is commonly classified as primary and secondary sludge. Primary sludge is generated from chemical precipitation, sedimentation, and other primary processes, whereas secondary sludge is the activated waste biomass resulting from biological treatments. Some sewage plants also receive septic or septic tank solids from household on-site wastewater treatment system. Quite often, the sludge are combined together for further treatment and disposal. So what are the common ways to handle sludge? So the dispose of sludge generated by wastewater treatment plant is dependent on government regulation, geographical location, and sludge characteristic. Final waste sludge disposal method include reclamation, incineration, land application, and landfill. So the most common one in our side of the country or our region is landfill, land application, and incineration. Landfill is the most common method of industrial wastewater treatment plant in our country at least. We can more to avoid pollution of groundwater. The movement and consequences recharge of groundwater is a slow process. So contamination that will be very small for a stream or river can result in irreversible long-term pollution of the groundwater. Many states require impermeable liners in landfill disposable sites. This requirement limits linear to a few natural clays and commercial plastic liners. Leachates, the byproduct of this landfilling, is a contaminant. The decrease of moisture in the sludge removes water that will eventually be able as leachates. Proper considerations of hydraulic of landfill site can capture more rainfall as runoff and eliminate ponding, and it contributes to leachates. Such production from biological oxidation of industrial waste can be used for land application also as a fertilizer or soil conditioner. A detailed analysis of sludge is important in order to evaluate toxic compound, heavy metal content, leachate quality, and nitrogen concentration. Soil, geology, and climate characteristics are all important considerations in determining suitable of land application, along with type of crops to be grown on the sludge amended soils. Biological sludge can also be disposed by incineration. This is the most avoided way of disposing sludge because the carbon, nitrogen, and sulfur are removed as gaseous byproduct, which contribute to the air pollution, and the organic portion is removed as ash. Old landfill sites are filling up and new ones are becoming increasingly difficult to obtain. Therefore, waste reduction through incineration is become a more favorable in some other countries. Sludge incineration is a two-step process involving drying and combustion. Incineration of waste sludge usually require auxiliary fuels to maintain temperature and evaporate the water content in the sludge. Another form of sludge handling, or at least a component of it, is biogas treatment, which are designed to recycle biosolids into methane and valuable byproducts. Advanced anaerobic digestion technology use bacteria in the absence of oxygen to break down industrial sludge and other methods to create biogas. The biogas can be combusted or oxidized and used for heating. With a CHP engine to produce electricity, genset, and heat, it can also be compressed and used as a fuel for vehicles, with the kit produced used as fertilizer. This is the more environmental friendly approach in treating sludge. The cost for sludge handling. Wastewater treatment plant managers, both municipal and industrial, know that dealing with sludge represent the bulk and the costing of running their operations. These costs can range anywhere from 40 to 60% of the total plant cost, depending on the size of the plant and initially wastewater characteristic. Traditional form of disposal, which includes sending the sludge off to landfill, or else we utilize it as fertilizer in agriculture application, are become less and less feasible. Transport costs inch up, just landfill charges getting higher, and due to tighter regulation from the governments, and refuse organic material altogether. One generation of farmers have relied on nutrient-rich sludge as an inexpensive method of replenishing their cropland. Health regulators are increasingly concerned about the potential negative health impact. This presents a problem not just for farmers, but also for treatment plants managers who rely on sludge to fertilizer route as a way to avoid disposable fee from all the transportation and also the handling. These elements are driving the trend toward managing entire sludge cycle, from thickening to dewatering, to reutilize in the plant's energy supply, on-site and in a more sustainable way. This is how much cost for desludging issued by the IWK from Malaysia. So for the first one is for domestic, which charge for 180 per tank for every trip. The second one is for commercial and industrial and also government. The charge is 360 for 2.5 meter cube of tank, less than 2.5 actually. And also the price is 360 for every services and also for one trip. The second one is for 2.5 meter cube until 4.5 meter cube. 4.5 meter cube until 2.5 meter cube, in that range. The charge is 650 for every services and also for one trip. And the last one is for any tank with the size more than 4.5 meter cube, with this charge with 145 per meter cube instead of by trip or by services. So how to solve these sludge problems. Reducing sludge volume is a multi-step process. A total sludge management system will include sludge screening, thickening, dewatering, drying, disposal, and or reuse. At each step, with several options to employ technology to achieve their ultimate objective, plant managers have to properly plan and execute these sludge reducing methods in order to get the best result for the sludge handling costs. One of the way is sludge screening filters out of debris and protect the system. This is before sludge can advance to either aerobic or anaerobic sludge digestion process. It is necessary to remove any disturbing solids such as hair, fiber, plastic, and other cause of material. This step prevents any disruption of equipment damage that could occur in subsequent treatment stage. The second step is sludge thickening, reduce sludge volume by up to 90%. Sludge thickening precedes sludge digestion and stabilization and reduce the free water content in the sludge, leaving sludge content of between 5 to 10%. This initial reduction in water volume allowed for a smaller and more cost-effective sludge digester. Common method of sludge thickening includes disc thickeners, screw thickeners, and filter belt. Each option has its strength and is selected based on the unique scenario of the plant and also the sludge. The third way is sludge dewatering to further reduce water content and volume. Sludge dewatering, which can occur before or after digestion, further reduce the free water content of the sludge, resulting in a solid content of between 20 to 80%. The goal is dewatering is to create a liquid stream with the least possible solids content and a solid product with the least possible water content. This is the most common method of sludge dewatering, include screw press, bed filter press, and centrifuge. The last the last way to handle sludge is sludge drying process. A drier and lighter biosolid products. While dewatered sludge is suitable for agriculture application, the increased restriction of using sludge as fertilizer result in transport and landfill disposal as the alternative. Because sludge volume affect transport and disposable costs, achieving a disinfected biosolid product that is both dry and granular will significantly reduce this cost. So before I end my presentation, I would like to introduce you to one of CEMAX wastewater treatment technology. If you have problem with your wastewater treatment system or having trouble handling your sludge, Sentinel is a perfect addition to your wastewater system. It functions to enhance your treatment and help in breaking of sludge during process. It acts as a replacement to any chemical additive you add to your existing wastewater treatment. We do trial and purchase, and case story will be presented upon request. We also provide cleaning equipments for our brand Primero and also silo cleaning services. For more information, you can directly email to me at ashraf@cemax.com or you can contact me through WhatsApp 016-207-5400. That's all from me. Thank you and have a nice day. Goodbye.